Hey everyone, I wanted to help you out by showing you how to print. InDesign can be a bit of a beast when it comes to navigating all the dialog boxes and windows that they have to print correctly, particularly when you want to print specific pages or spreads. So let's begin. Right now I've got a document set up. It has 3 pages. We want to print both of these pages, this one being blank and this one having our title page information on it. We're also going to want to print with crop marks, and we may only want to print these pages specifically if we were to have, say, 2 more like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up and click print. There's a bit of a red herring here for our purposes. This says print booklet. This will come in handy later when we've set several pages of text. But for right now, we want to just stick with print. Also, I'd like to point out that there's the shortcut command, Command P, and that'll get you here as well. So we're going to click print. We're going to select the printer we want. It may be the color printer, it may be the black and white printer, might be in 118, might be in 117 depending on where we're at. Just make sure that corresponds to the one you're expecting. We're going to go with color because we of course have color in the document. So immediately you'll see that this is a bit off from what you might expect if you were printing out a preview or even some of the other Adobe programs. We need to first select our range. As I mentioned, we want to print both the verso and the recto, so pages 2 and 3, so we can view them next to each other as they will be in our final booklet. Doesn't necessarily appear like it at first because this is a drop down, but you can actually type in this. So I'm going to specify pages 2 and 3. And then I'm going to click spreads. This is very important. You can see what happens when I select between the two. It's going to treat these as one spread, which is, again, very important for what we want to do. The other thing that's important for what we want to do is to make sure that print blank pages is checked as an option. Otherwise, this verso page won't print. InDesign will try and do you a favor, save you some paper, maybe repaginate things for you. We want to make sure that's in. So that's essential to print. The other thing we may need to do, you can see that the default size is set as tabloid. There's 2 ways to change it. The more proper way is to set this as defined by driver and then come to page setup down here in the lower left corner and select our size. We're going to click OK. You'll see that changes. You can change it here. However, occasionally that causes some functional errors in the way it comes out. So if you're ever printing and it doesn't, what's coming out of the printer doesn't really jive with the setup in here, do yourself a favor, set that to define by driver and handle it through the page setup dialog box. So we'll jump from general to setup as we were. We need to change this. You can see right now the orientation is going to be a little off. You want to select one of these. I want to go back and make sure. See, I accidentally checked legal. Let's change that to letter. That looks a little better. Okay, so anyway, we were here. You want to hit one of these, and it really doesn't matter as long as it doesn't fall off the page's edge. So we're going to click the orientation. We never want scale to fit checked, as we discussed in class. We want to change the page position from upper left. You can see how it is justified in the upper left corner. This is oriented as it comes out of the printer. We want to hit centered so that it's equal on all sides. The final thing we want to do is include marks. We want crop marks. So we're going to select that. You can see these show up. Now, there might be instances, and this might be one of them, I'm not sure, depending on the printer you're printing from, whether it's color or black and white. Not all of the crop marks might show up, and that is because of the size of the self-imposed printing margins as it comes out of the printer. So you can change things. It might be helpful to change this to 3-point, so 1/8 of an inch as opposed to 1/4. You can also change this if you want it to be less obtrusive. You definitely don't have to, but just know for future reference you can adjust all those specifications in InDesign. Output you do not have to mess with. Graphics you don't have to mess with. Color management is not specific to what we're doing. These, again, no real use for our purposes this time. And then this will just give you a full summary of all the things that you're doing. This can be helpful for error resolution on my side of things, or Dan's if we're trying to figure out a common thread with why everyone's might be printing wrong. But for us, the three things you're going to concern yourself with are general, setup, and then marks and bleed. Finally, you'll hit print, and you should be all set. If you want to save these for next time, you can always click Save Preset, and you can type in something like Yestermorrow, and click OK. And now that is a print preset that you can come up and select, and it will change everything we just did. However, keep in mind that in the lab setting, this is not as handy, as someone may have set it up wrong or incorrectly, so don't necessarily rely on this for the first time or for your own stuff. Hope that helps. See you in class.